Hi guys, and welcome back to our series of videos on our cruise on board the MSC World Europa. We'd already been to southern France, Genoa, and Naples, having a great time on this massive and incredible ship. Now we were heading to our next port. Good morning guys, we are in Valletta, Malta today, which is just south of Italy. But Malta is its own country, and we've actually never been here before, so we're going to go out on the town, see what there is to see. The city looks very ancient from the ship, and it's all stone, it's all brown buildings, so we're very curious as to what we're going to find on shore. But before we do that, we are going to get some lunch. We're going to go back down to pizza and burger. We still haven't tried the MSC pizza on this ship. They actually make all of their pizzas on board. All of the dough is made here, kind of like how they make their own pastas. But overall, MSC gets really good reviews on its pizza. So we are going to go down, just grab a slice of pizza really quick for lunch, and then head out on the town. Pizza and Burger is located in the World Galleria section of the ship, down on Deck 6. And it's a really nice complimentary venue for a quick bite to eat.
Yeah, the MSC pizza is still as good as we remember it. And we really like this spot particularly as just a quick grab and go, get a bite to eat. Don't have to deal with the craziness of the buffet. It's really worked out well for us on this cruise.
Pizza consumed, we headed towards the exit of the ship. Our first impressions of this city were that it looked very ancient, and to be honest, like something we'd never seen before. We were technically still in Europe, but the brownstone buildings and massive cliff walls made it seem like we were in some distant desert empire. Because of the unique and interesting appearance, this city has played host to several movie shoots throughout the years, including several blockbusters like Gladiator, The Count of Monte Cristo, Murder on the Orient Express, Captain Phillips, World War Z, and so many more. In fact, the city has even put up these boards at many scenic viewpoints to show you where filming on many movies took place. They call it the Valletta Movie Trail, and if you're looking for something to do here, it's not a bad option. We took an elevator from the waterside up into the old city, which sits on top of a massive cliff. Even though it was a bit rainy, it was actually a really magical place to be. Like we said earlier, everything was just so interesting and exotic looking. We could have stared out to this port for hours. The old city itself is not really that large, and once you find a way up into it, walking around isn't very strenuous either. You can use the same elevator that we used to get up into the old city. It's €1 for a round trip. Walking around in the city was actually really easy. However, we will say that the rain today was making the stone sidewalks and roads extremely slippery, to the point where we did see people fall. Just make sure that you wear comfortable shoes if you're coming out here. After walking around for a bit and wanting to get out of the rain, we stopped for a quick beer at one of the many restaurants that line the streets. Well, what are your thoughts on Malta so far?
It's cool. It's very ancient. I can see why a lot of movies have been filmed here.
After our local beverage, we wanted to see one more thing before heading back to the ship. We walked out to Fort St. Elmo. This massive fort stands at the northernmost end of the city, and it once protected the old town on 3 sides, keeping watch over the 2 main bays that make up the waters surrounding Valletta. This very strategic protection point always had a watch post, as well as a tower sitting here, but after an Ottoman fleet sailed into the city basically unopposed in 1551, it was decided that this area should be much more fortified. A massive fort was built in 1565, and was then nearly immediately lost to the Turks. However, control was eventually regained, and this fort was again refortified, becoming the impressive structure that it is today. After getting ourselves acquainted with some more history of the fort and the city, we made our way back to the ship. Well, we are back in from Valletta in Malta, It was a pretty good day. It got a little bit rainy towards the end of the day, so we were a little bit lazy on the way back. We just Ubered. It was like €5 back to the port for a 15-minute ride, so not too bad. Malta is beautiful. We didn't realize kind of what it would look like, but it's got all of this sandstone, this brownstone buildings everywhere. Reminds us a lot of kind of the building style of Dubrovnik, and you can see why so many movies have been filmed here, making this place look like ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, Jerusalem, things like that, just because of this brownstone building that is so prevalent here. Plus, there's tons of forts and little inlets and everything. It's just a very unusual place. And of course, you have the British influence everywhere, cars driving on the other side of the road to most of the world. It's just an interesting experience. Definitely glad that we were here. Plus, we got to see the MSC Musica here in Dry Dock, obviously getting some refurbishments and its annual checkup, if you will. So that's kind of cool too. MSC does have a base here in Valletta. At that moment, the ship started to make its way out of the port of Valletta, starting its long 2-day journey up to Barcelona. We were lucky enough to get a bit of sun as we were sailing out of the port, and it made for a very beautiful and unique sail out. When we reached the mouth of the harbor, we passed by Fort Ricasoli, a 17th century fort that once guarded the harbor, along with its sister fort, Fort St. Elmo. However, now most of this fort is actually being leased by the Malta Film Commission, and you can actually see several movie sets that have been built here, making it look like something out of ancient times. It was really cool to pass by. On this sail out, we also saw something that you'll see every now and then on a cruise. Not many cruisers are aware of this, but the captain and crew are rarely the ones navigating in and out of ports. Instead, the crew will take on board a pilot who lives in the area and is familiar with the underwater landscape and port regulations of any particular harbor. This pilot works with the harbor master and will help navigate the ship in and out of port to make sure it doesn't hit anything. These pilots will always come out to the ship on pilot boats when arriving into port, and then will get picked up by the same pilot boats when navigating out of port. Today we had a great view of the pilot disembarking the World Europa and heading back to the port of Valletta. So we are going to rest for a little bit here. Tonight is Gala night. Once or twice a cruise, depending on how long your cruise is, they'll have what's called the elegant night or the gala night, where everyone is supposed to dress up. You are supposed to be dressed up if you're dining in the main dining room and then many of the other public spaces on the ship. A lot of people really do dress to the nines for this. It's quite a sight to see. And then there's other people that don't dress up at all. So there's really a big contrast on the ship. So we'll see how everyone on this ship is dressed up. Everyone's been dressed pretty nicely throughout this cruise. So I would imagine there will be a lot of cocktail dresses and tuxes and suits. But for gala night, they usually have a little bit of an elevated menu at the main dining room as well. So we're looking forward to that. We headed down to the Hexagon restaurant for our gala night dinner, sitting at our normal table assigned to us at our assigned dining time. As we mentioned, tonight there was a special menu for gala night, which included a slight upgrade to the food. As you could see in our previous videos, the food in the main dining room on MSC always tends to be hit or miss. Some people claim that it's not that bad, while others absolutely hate it. So far on this cruise, we've been actually quite impressed with the food quality. Tonight, Catherine went for a brie and crispy almond brioche, which is basically just fried cheese, and I decided to go for the escargot and puff pastry. Both starters were very tasty. For our mains, Catherine went with the roasted beef fillet in a marsala wine sauce, and I decided on the duck à l'orange. Catherine's beef was slightly overcooked. My duck à l'orange was excellent. However, I do believe the sauce was carrying most of the weight of the dish. For dessert, we went for a mint mousse cake and baked Alaska, both of which were just okay. The next morning was the start of a sea day, so we decided to go up to the buffet for a nice and quiet breakfast. The sounds of the buffet.
Yes, yeah.
Something I didn't manage to capture here was a young child sneezing on me as he passed by, with his mother looking at me as if I did something wrong. Can you understand now why we try to avoid the buffet if we can? Hey guys, it is the second to last day of our cruise. We're currently sailing just a little bit south of Sardinia. So we're sailing from Valletta in Malta all the way up to Barcelona. So it is a sea day today because that's quite a voyage. So today we're going to hopefully explore the ship a little bit, maybe listen to some music, just hang out. The weather isn't super nice. It's a little bit chilly and windy, so probably not going to be spending any time up on the pool deck, but there is the indoor pool, so maybe Catherine will go up there. But right now, we are headed to lunch. We're actually going to go to one of the specialty dining restaurants, Hola Tacos. So it's a Mexican Cantina style restaurant. The prices overall, because this isn't included, this is specialty dining, the prices overall seem fairly reasonable, and there is actually an all-you-can-eat for 17.99 euros per person. But we're going to check out the menu, see if there's anything that we like. We don't think we're going to do the all-you-can-eat because everything else is pretty reasonably priced. And then this place is also known for its margaritas, so it is lunchtime, but we're on vacation, so we're probably going to have some margaritas. We headed down to the World Galleria on Deck 7 to find the relatively small specialty restaurant, Hola Tacos and Cantina. Here are several tables of varying sizes as well as a small bar. We were seated and ordered our margaritas. So Catherine has her classic margarita, frozen margarita, right? Yeah. It's not very frozen.
No.
And then I got the strawberryta, which again is not very frozen, but it looks like it does have a lot of ice in it, so that's good. We ordered some chips with refried beans and chips and salsa, both of which came out very quickly. We also ordered some enchiladas, quesadillas, and a few tacos. Our table is filling up quickly.
I know, I'm a little scared.
Okay guys, so back from Hola Tacos, the specialty restaurant. Overall, it was just okay. I mean, the flavor of a lot of the dishes was, to be honest, just spicy. I'm not sure how true it was to actual Mexican cuisine because that's what they're trying to kind of make it. Hola Tacos is Mexican, it's not Spanish food. Overall selection choice on the menu was pretty good. I mean, they had enchiladas and tacos and everything like that, quesadillas, plenty to choose from. So we went with a couple of quesadillas, two different types of quesadillas, tortilla chips. We got a side that came with chips and refried beans. I got two enchiladas. And then, of course, we had to go with the margaritas. So we'll start with the margaritas. Overall, the margaritas were fine. They were fine. They weren't true frozen margaritas. There was a lot of ice in there, but there was a lot of liquid too. We did see people get the regular margaritas, so not the frozen kind, and they looked okay. For the taste, let's just say if we didn't have the drinks package, we would not pay for those margaritas. Now, I did have to pay a little bit for mine. I got the strawberry margarita. Catherine got the regular margarita. So if you get the Easy Plus package like we have, all drinks up to 9 euros, and I think in the US it's either $9 or $10, are included. You don't have to pay for them. If you buy something that's 10 euros, so €1 more than what your drinks package covers, you only pay the difference. So my margarita was 10 euros. Our drinks package covers up to 9 euros, so I only paid €1 for my margarita. That's kind of how the drinks package works. But anyway, like I said, we probably would not pay for those margaritas if we didn't have a drinks package. The food itself, my enchiladas were very spicy, to the point where that seems to be the flavor they were going for was spice. The quesadillas were just okay as well, pretty basic. The tortilla chips were pretty good. You can tell that they make the tortilla chips here. Overall, it was just an okay meal. Now, the reason that we're okay with it being just an okay meal is that it was very cheap when it comes to specialty dining. As you know, specialty dining has gotten very expensive on these cruise ships. Hola Tacos, not that expensive. Now, Mexican food itself is of course, very cheap to make. The ingredients tend to be pretty cheap. So for everything that we got, we paid 30 euros. 30 euros and 27 cents. So that's not too bad for two people for lunch at a specialty dining restaurant. So they do have an option, though, that's all you can eat. So you can get anything on the menu as much as you want for $17.99 per person. So that would have cost us, of course, 36 euros plus the extra euro for my drink, plus taxes. They had tax on top. So that would have probably set us back about 40 euros. So we saved about 10 euros just going the way we did with the a la carte dining. And overall, we were stuffed when we left there. So we felt that it was a perfect amount of food. So overall, Hola Tacos, just okay.
We rested for a bit and enjoyed the views from our balcony after lunch. Since the weather wasn't that agreeable, we checked out some of the other venues on the ship. There are so many different bars here. We went up to the Fizz Champagne bar and enjoyed a nice glass of Prosecco before checking out the indoor pool area. Of course, the World Europa does have an outdoor pool with plenty of seating. In fact, they have a few outdoor pools. This indoor pool really impressed us, though. After enjoying some time here, we went down to the Dolce Vita bar on deck 6. Here we got some drinks and listened to some music. Getting around the ship is made much more easy by these interactive display boards, which allow you to use the touch screen to find what you're looking for. It does show you information about each venue on the map. It is nice to be able to pinpoint where you want to go, but it's not quite as helpful as the interactive displays on some other cruise lines, which actually give you step-by-step instructions, and sometimes even animations on how to get from place to place. The MSC World Europa also has some rather advanced elevators, where you have to make your selection before you step on. These are supposed to help increase the flow of traffic and reduce overcrowding in the elevator. In reality, though, there were a lot of people getting on, looking for the buttons and not finding them, and then just staying along for the ride. The elevators were also relatively slow. Whenever we could, we took the stairs. Before we knew it, it was dinner time.
Hey guys, so now we are going to go out to dinner. We had a good day on this sea day, but we're going to go to dinner at Chef's Kitchen, it's called, or Chef's Table, Chef's something. And it's supposed to be like a signature restaurant from this gourmet chef, but apparently it's supposed to be really good, and they're supposed to have a really good menu created by this chef. Now, this is a specialty restaurant, so it is an extra pay restaurant, but if you have a diamond membership, you get a diamond dinner experience, basically it's called. And once a cruise, you can use this to get one free meal in a specialty restaurant. Now, usually this meal is the dining experience, which almost all of the restaurants on board have this thing called the dining experience, where it's like a set menu for a set price, and you get to choose a starter, a main, and a dessert, and it's all included in that one price. So there is a dining experience here. It's normally 68 euros per person, so pretty expensive, but we're going to go use our dining experience for a diamond membership and get this meal for free. We did think about this ahead of time too, and made sure that we were doing the most expensive dining experience under our diamond free meal. So really excited about this meal. It's supposed to be like gourmet and pretty good. We're going to go down, check it out, and see how it is.
We went down to Chef's Garden Kitchen on deck 8 in the World Galleria, excited for this supposedly once-in-a-lifetime dining experience. However, once we arrived and sat down, we were in for one of the biggest disappointments of our cruise.
Hey guys, back from dinner. Something rather unexpected happened, a little bit disappointing. So we got to the restaurant. Server was great, brought us to our table. And we started looking at the menu. We were going with the dining experience. And as we said, we were going to use our diamond status free meal that we get once per cruise. So we're all good. We look at the menu. We say we're going to use the dining experience. And then they say you cannot use your diamond meal at this restaurant. This was very disappointing for a couple of reasons. First of all, that is not on any of the menus. That's not on the website when you book online. He did say that The only place they really tell you is if you call and make a reservation at the restaurant, but everything's online. They want you to use the app for everything, so that's what we've been doing. The second reason that this is disappointing is because this is our second to last night. We have Kaito Sushi Bar tomorrow. We wanted to get sushi. We wanted to get a couple rolls of sushi, which aren't in the dining experience. So we were going to do a la carte. So it doesn't make sense to use our diamond meal there. It makes sense to pay for it, which meant that tonight was the only night that we could use our diamond experience. And this was the last restaurant that we were going to go to other than Kaito, and we couldn't use our dining experience. We've already been to Butcher's Cut. We've already been to Hola Tacos. So essentially we had to use our diamond experience tonight, or we couldn't use it on this cruise. Not only that, but Chef's Table is very expensive. Like we said, it's 68 euros per person for just the dining experience. So that's a starter, a main, and not even their most expensive mains, and then also a dessert. So we were looking at paying about 140 euros before tax if we just did the dining experience. So we were pretty disappointed by that. If you're given a free meal, you're going to use it. So we went back to Butcher's Cut again. The meal was great. I mean, the staff were excellent in this situation. It's not their fault the cruise line does not publish this information, and I'm sure that this happens quite a lot. People show up expecting to be able to use their diamond meal, and then they can't. So our waiter and host were extremely good about this. This was not their fault at all, but our host took us down there. He walked with us down from Chef's Table down to Butcher's Cut. They talked to the hostess, made sure they could fit us in, and they got us in for dinner right away. So bravo to the crew for doing a really good job and kind of cleaning up this mess that the cruise line put them in. I don't know what we would have done if we couldn't get in another restaurant. We probably would have asked for a refund on a previously eaten meal, which I don't know if that even works. They just have to make it a lot more clear. But bravo again to the crew, to our waiter, to the hosts for making this work and making the best out of a bad situation. I mean, we still had a great meal at Butcher's Cut, but it's just very disappointing.
If you're interested in how we liked our meal at Butcher's Cut, make sure you check out our previous video where we talk through all of the dining options here and the food in the restaurant. After our meal, we decided to go to a show in the World Theater. Tonight, the theater company put on a performance where several European destinations were celebrated. It was actually really impressive how the costumes and backgrounds changed as the cast sang and danced to different numbers representing these amazing cities. Of course, being an Italian cruise line, they are obliged to end the show with this number. With that, we ended our second to last night on the cruise. Make sure you check out our next video where we travel to Barcelona on a cruise-led excursion to a mountain retreat, and where we attend a very odd and unsettling theater show. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.